They know how to make it. This is
Somebody already wrote my exact question. You guys have a pen? I can have one really quick.
We're going to be reading Cito and I will be reading through them. We want to see what you guys are thinking.
I saw your thing. Okay, very good. That's my response. What does it mean? It means awesome in Singaporean.
Okay, let me grab you.
dạ.
Any lemon also can.
Chanh với đường thôi đúng không vậy?
Nếu mà có muối thì ngon hơn.
It's better with a little salt. With salt.
Salt with salt.
Xíu thôi.
A little salt.
Ví dụ như cái ca như vậy nè thì khoảng nửa cái muỗng đặt lên muỗng thôi. Không đến nửa, cái đầu muỗng đặt lên.
For example, a bag like this, you need just like half a coffee spoon of salt.
Oh, half a spoon.
Yeah.
Không, giờ đến mua đá đi, bạn chị xay luôn nha. Mua đá đi, bạn chị xay thành sinh tố cái này luôn không ngon.
Yeah. If we have ice, we can make it into water.
So when the lime cut ready, right? Put into water.
Yes.
And put water.
Yeah. Tức là bây giờ là chanh là cắt xong rồi bỏ vô nước. Xong rồi thêm đường đúng không? Yeah. So cut lemon, put into water, add sugar.
Add sugar, not salt.
Add sugar.
Add sugar first.
Sugar first, and it is best with a little more salt.
Oh, okay. That one is good for what?
Cái này là tốt cho uống thì tốt cho gì? Yeah, more vitamin C. Vitamin C.
For vitamin C.
Vitamin C. It makes you awake. It keeps you awake.
Oh.
Rất là good.
Thế là thế vì sao chị làm? Vì ai cũng là mệt, thế đó là chị muốn làm sẵn, thế đó ai mệt cứ việc đi uống.
So I want to make it ready so that when you're tired, you can help.
Sugar must put how many?
Sugar.
Yeah.
Còn bỏ đường bao nhiêu vậy?
Quý ca này là
7 lạng là 700 gram. Around 700 gram. Yes.
Depends on the container.
Tức là tùy thuộc vào cái ly cái ca chứa. Yes, depend on the container.
tức là nếu mà mình cái ca nước thì cái đường như vậy vừa.
Yeah.
Nhưng mà tùy mình thích uống chua hay là
Yeah. And it depends on if you prefer sour or sweet. Yeah. And that amount of sugar is okay for this amount. Just learning how to make the lime water. Just learn.
It has died. I think it needs to evolve. Today, I think the expectations are different. We've got to move on from what we call a pasar malam culture. Maybe kind of a flea market jamboree thing, a weekend or long weekend, some festive season kind of thing that are underutilized. Beautiful pockets. I mentioned this yesterday. There are pockets of spaces by the Marina Bay Sands, big skyline in our CBD. Empty, weekends empty, nothing. So that place is just shouting to be alive. So there are other pockets like this in Singapore, and I think a new moving food flea jamboree, kind of an event should occur. Food trucks can come in, people with very good products.
I think you're absolutely right. When you were mentioning before, there are all these new spaces for hawker
There's a chance the guy could use a silence.
It's constantly under construction. But to your point about so many hawker centers opening, but the government's hoping for community there. But what I've noticed is that the people are hanging out at hawker centers. So I think what you're mentioning now is interesting because it's more relevant to the changing times and what our new form of.
My parents were very, very poor migrants or ex-cons who had no choice, came out to Seoul and to sell food and raised me and chucked me in here. So that's that kind of old thinking still. But I'm excited to see what. Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Kevin from ITE. So I want to say that if, let's say in the future we get a food truck going, right? And there's one thing in Singapore that is we always have a shortage of manpower. And it also requires the lessons of food hygiene and safety to operate inside the hawker center. So that's one thing I will ask. So how does we solve the manpower for the hawker center?
Yeah, foreign workers to come in. Even for foreign workers to pick up jobs that Singaporeans don't want. We got sweepers, cleaners, and even some front office jobs that Singaporeans don't want. And there's this thinking about for the government up there, they really want to say, let's do away with these jobs. Let's innovate, let's upgrade, let's come up with technology and do away with menial tasks, automatic cleaning and automatic service. And I was just talking about drinks and snacks. Jury's out on that, whether that is the future of our manpower crisis. But then again, I do not know if this manpower problem is, I'll call it a problem. You can't get manpower. I do not know if this new manpower that comes in, it's always exciting and relevant. So I I'm trying my level best to persuade ITE to churn students out and feed this manpower needs of the street food industry. Not everybody just want an assistant in a hawker store. Some want students to be cooking street food in their cafes, restaurants, or even hotels. Oh yeah, what do you think? You blog a lot. What's your reading on all this? Food trucks, any issues you want to raise?
I think the opportunities are there, as you mentioned, for big events. The same kind of issues that plague applies to food trucks in Singapore as well. Perhaps even more, because license for the vehicle, operational cost for the vehicles, where do you put them, the utilities, and solve the utilities by having your own generators and carrying your water.
Okay, and press again to stop.
Hi.
Okay, later.
I believe all you have one of these at this moment. If any of you guys don't have it, the guys
now recording.
Pleased to give you one. Hope we got the flavors of Brazil that we brought to you as well. Well, right now, what I want to share is a little of the story of what we do. We're a small company based in São Paulo, Brazil. And we started off in 2012 when we didn't know much about street food, but we invited 22 of the top chefs in the city, including Alex Atala, who is one of the top chefs in the world, to cook for a general public of around 200,000 people. We didn't know what we were doing at that point, but it was a lot of fun. You imagine 200,000 people, 22 chefs, so it was a whole mess. So we started to look for other things, see what else was going in the world, and we figured out what my friend Eric was doing in California, in New York. We heard about what was going on in California as well. So in 2013, we started a little market, which I mentioned a little earlier, which was the Feirinha Gastronômica. The Feirinha Gastronômica was our version of a flea food market where 20 vendors, mostly students, recently formed new chefs and new talents would do their work, and this was a great place for people to launch their ideas and test their business. So up until now, the Feirinha has launched around 100 different businesses, and it's been very fun as well. In 2014, we started Butantan Food Park, the first of its kind in Brazil, where we would have the trucks, carts, tents, and the most interesting kind of food in town in different forms, different shapes. This place and this culture has changed the way that people in Brazil eat, and especially the way they live, and they go outside and they stay in public areas. And to keep up this conversation, I would love to invite you all between September 4th and September 7th to join us in Brazil, because we learned that this whole international conversation makes the whole street food, everyone in this market stronger and everything better. So I'll be waiting for you in Brazil.
Mr. Stephen. Next up we have Nemo, or is it Nemo, from Vietnam, who wants to a project to create the biggest ASEAN food village in Ho Chi Minh City. Did I pronounce your name correctly? Nemo. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Nemo. It's my English name, my full name is Vietnamese is Phan Tung Quoc. I'm a translator in Vietnamese Stone for in 5 days. And today I am here to present about the project that we are working with some Vietnamese experts on cuisine in Vietnam. We are having an idea to turn an area in the center of Ho Chi Minh City by geography into a new international cuisine village, because currently that area is already filled up with a lot of hotels and street food vendor and restaurant, and it is very easily accessible to many kind of transportation like via road or river. So our idea is to connect the current street vendor, hotel, restaurant in the area to connect and work together with a company to develop the area into a new ASEAN cuisine village and international also. And currently we are working with many Vietnamese and international experts on the cuisine to turn this into a reality. So if you are interested in contributing to this process, so you can contact us via the CITO, or also you can talk to me rapidly at the Vietnamese store later. And also related to this project, in late 2015, there is supposed to be an international conference on ASEAN cuisine organized by my university in Ho Chi Minh City. So anyone interested I can arrange an invitation letter for you to come to talk about your idea about street food and ASEAN cuisine. And the last thing about our store, Bánh Căn, you will see and you can try later after 5 p.m. at Vietnamese store. Bánh Căn is a Vietnamese pancake which is very uniquely from the central of Vietnam, but also has some similarity with pancake from Singapore, Indonesia, and others. So if you're also interested in to do some franchise about Vietnamese pancake in your country or community, you can also talk to us after the pitching. Thank you.
Earlier, there was a panel from NYU, and they were talking about solar-powered trucks and vehicles. And actually, in Cambodia, it already exists. So this was an answer to that question. So in Cambodia, we have one at the moment, a solar-powered tuk-tuk, and they sell coffee and food. So it already exists. And earlier you were talking about food trucks and things like that. It's also very vibrant in Cambodia. So, but what I wanted to pitch was slightly different. When it comes to Cambodia, has anyone heard of Cambodia? Raise your hands. Okay, usually when you think of Cambodia, what do you think of? Anyone? Mines. Mines, yes, bombs, etc., things like that. It's a country where people just think it's a horrible country to visit. And actually, I have to tell you that history aside, the food culture in Cambodia is extremely vibrant. There's some really amazing cuisine there. And when I first went to volunteer in Cambodia, I thought, crap, I'm gonna eat like rice and soup all the time. And then 3 years into my stay, I currently reside there, I lived there for 2 years. The food scene there is just amazing. Cambodian food is one of the oldest living culinary cuisine styles in the world. It's over a millennia old, and it has contributed so much to the world. You think about like common dessert in Singapore like tau suan. You think it's from China, but actually it came from Cambodia. In like the 13th century, there was an ambassador who went from China to Cambodia. He liked it so much he exported it back to China, and then it came to Singapore. So things like that, it's really good. So I'm trying to sell Cambodia as a culinary destination. I run like a food tours over there, and I think it's a really great way to see the culture. What we usually do is we start off by just sitting outside our guest house, and all these food trucks and tuk-tuks and street vendors, they just walk. So we do a drive. We sit down and they do a drive-by shooting. So when whatever comes by, we eat. And things like fried noodles, baguettes, thanks to the French. Then you have this amazing amok, which is their national dish, but they've contemporized it and they put it in a snail shell, so they serve it escargot style. So things like this, the undiscovered cuisine of Cambodia. So anyone interested in coming to Cambodia for a holiday, or you want more food ideas to, you know, spice up Singaporean food, fusion food, come talk to me.
Yeah, and what distinguishes us really is we are preservatives free. I mean, like we don't have additives and do so, and we try to share it with all the vegetarian friends as well.
Yeah, you got a good product. There are many ways to get in. Firstly, get a community online. Slowly, you get brick and mortar spaces and pop-up events. Charlene, where are you? She's looking to do all a lot of people are looking to do all this pop-up. Be there, cook, show people, and then start and build up. You're not gonna leapfrog to where you want to go. Build it. Yeah. Thank you.
We have chili bottles for samples if you guys want.
Okay, thank you.
Not really very successful, but we are okay, but we are quite satisfied with our current business. So who brought us here, we must remember. In Chinese we call 饮水思源. Just remember those people who help you through. Remember them. That's what our dad told us. So right now, why this question is our main product right now is like crabs, chili, black pepper, saute, and the costs are really high now. We used to be selling like the selling price then is per kg we are selling at 40. Now we are selling at per kg $60, and the cost is till now is about $35 per kg, not including GST. That's what we're doing, and we are not even earning a 50%. So any crab that is not that nice, it's not fresh, we have thrown away, and that's our loss. And yesterday I talked to Anton about going to the Philippines to take a look. Yeah, that's the way of us keeping the price low and to bring the value back to the customers. I guess that's my problem right now, and I hope to share with you guys. Thank you.
So Paul was
far for the recipes and know-hows. Our grandmas and mothers or grandpas had them, and we just need to ask, learn, and attain skill sets. In the process, our children will also witness the passing of the baton, eating the food, hence memories created for them. Through this process of curating recipes, somehow, someday, it will continue and flourish. And I think this is not just in Singapore, anywhere around the world. Just, learn from your elders and continue to pass it on. Now I'm going to invite Sito back on, the guy who made World Street Food Congress happen. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, thank you. So we've come to the end of the World Street Food Congress Dialogue and Hackathon 2015, and I think it was a pretty good conversation. It opened up a lot of your minds about how we're all moving forward with Planet Street Food, and I think there will be more to talk about, more things will happen, more things will force us to rethink about how we're going to exist and make this world's most comforting and most popular street food, food culture viable and relevant for tomorrow. So before I close, I just want to bounce it with all of you. What do you want to hear next year's event, or maybe the year after, depending? What topics, what do we so burningly want to address? I think, in my opinion, we should talk about activation and sustainability. We can all talk about ideas, we can talk to the cows come home. How are we going to activate it? How are we going to create sustainability? How are we going to create buy-in from organizations, governments, new generation, to Generation Z, or Z, depending on which part of the world you come from. How? So, topics revolving around activation. Beyond talk, how can I live this? How can I enact and live out my imagination, my dreams, my desires? Beyond that, is there anything you guys want to think we should be raising in the next dialogue? Yes, Jessica.
Maybe accessibility with the neighboring countries.
What do you mean by accessibility?
Given that, I guess it's pretty obvious that we are all in the same direction with one belief that it's basically availability of other products from other countries in our own country. How can we access, instead of us, it's more of like, how can we reach out to these products and introduce
from your country or from a region?
From our country. It's how
everybody's here. Your organizations, your people, Anton, there's JJ. I think people should form a Philippine National Academy committee or a board. Neutral. Just come, talk problems. So what can I all do about it? Make sure you have a collection of people that, hey, we don't even have that in Singapore. I'm trying to start this, and I'm only so free, and everybody, yeah, I'll do it. It's all lip service to this. But if you get an independent body, there's no vested interest in anything except to move this culture forward, to address community issues and needs and create jobs and brands and reputation for the country. I think 6 degrees of representation or separation from this group of your board to reach out to the world, or even to Philippines, not just within your country. So, folks like Anton or even JJ or start this. You can easily get a hall somewhere in one of your 1 million malls in to conduct a quarterly meeting. Just coffee and pulutan and chat and connect. Keep connected. You want to connect with the rest of the world? Please put your names, your organization up on our website. I'll create, watch it evolve. I'll create spaces for you to breathe in and Put yourself out there. Yeah. So connectivity. Any other ideas? RJ?
Yeah. Sito, I enjoyed so much that there are people here from Brazil, from Vietnam, and all these different countries. I was hoping that, in your site or how we can move forward, maybe there's a way that we can develop some sort of exchange program where we can invite these people with street food from there to come here and go there, so that it'll be
They're all there. They're all there.
Fantastic.
Connect with them directly or connect with them via us. We'll reach out. Come here and constantly check on us. We'll put whatever we know, whoever's on the way, whoever's doing stuff. Basinski will be updating us, we'll be having chats, what he's doing, you're going to be inspired by what he's doing, or you want him to be inspired by what you're doing, just chat. Come via my site, come directly, but yeah, let's create that chat. Any others? Okay, if not, again, I want to thank all of you for giving us all this opportunity to chat and take the World Street Food Congress conversation to tomorrow, keeping it alive. Thank you, and again, welcome to Singapore. Thank you very much. Now, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, food at the Jamboree awaits you. Have a
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome down to the second time shopping around for the best cuisine that you can find. In fact, we have altogether 24 stalls, alright? So we have about 12 cities of different kind of cuisine. Got here, you're actually quite early, which is good because later on, Indonesia, Malaysia, India, all the way from Bolivia, South America, deliciously Singaporean. In fact, this campaign was launched by the National Heritage Board. And what is this campaign all about? Okay, of course, have a chance to come down now. There's no queue, so make sure you come by and get to say hello to Dinesh Kumar, the chef from DKBT Corner. Alright, for those of you who don't have this card or a credit card, you can use Kui is here. And Paul Kui has got this kiwi, and they are actually serving with sweet potato fries. And can I say hello to the owner, chef? Are you the chef? Is the chef around? Hello. Are you? Okay, actually our music. Happy hour is still going on. If you are actually enjoying some beers right now, to take note that beers are going at $8. After 8 is going at $10. For payment wise, I guess many of you and exchange master sign, so you can be able to pay it at the booths. A message from the NEA.